Okay, in this video we're just going to look at some basic editing tools after you set up or bring in an image. Yeah, just going to look and see what we can initially do just using some selection tools and some basic editing tools. If you place this image like I did this one, you will have to initially do what is called rasterizing. Rasterizing essentially will negate the smart object functions away from the image or layer that you brought in, and will allow you to directly edit on the document that you have created. So if we just show an example here, this layer 1 that I just created, it has a standard view or a thumbnail. This is a standard layer, whereas the one below, the one we want to edit, is actually considered a smart object or smart layer. With this, you will see that there's an icon in the thumbnail, and that is the quickest indicator to know that something is not a standard layer or object. So what we need to do, it's fairly simple. It's just one of those things you have to get used to doing, and that is rasterizing. That is a fancy word just to make it editable. Okay, rasterizing comes from the word raster, which is pixel based. So we are working in Photoshop, which is a raster based program, or pixel based, or tiny squares of color compiled to create images and graphics. So what we need to do again is rasterize. All you need to do is go to the open area of a layer. Okay, so it's kind of helpful if your name is a little bit shorter so you have more room to access this. If you right click, what that will do is bring up a huge drop down menu here. What we're looking for is rasterize. Okay, so all you do is click on that, and you will see that little icon go away in the thumbnail, and now I can directly edit this image. From here, we're just going to look at, again, some basic tools here to see what we can do. My goal here is just to essentially separate Rudolph here from the background. Okay, so we could, take an eraser, try to erase all the way around. That's a fairly crude way to do things, and it may not be the cleanest method, but it can get you there. Okay, so not very efficient, but it can get you there. I'm going to hit Command or Control Z here, step back, see if there are other tools that can help. Just select the subject area. If we look at our toolbar in the top left, the top 6 or 7 tools are selection based tools. So some select an area, some select a color, some select other objects. In this case, I want to use what's called the quick selection tool. And also, side note here, if you hover over a tool, it will give you a preview of that tool and also a learn function to know more about it. So it has kind of like built-in mini tutorials and reviews so you can use to understand a tool a little bit more. I'm going to use the selection tool here. With that, cheater mode here, if we look at the command bar or control bar up top, it says select subject after I use or select the selection tool. Shortcut W here. If I hit select subject, I'll let it think and see if it can interact and see what the subject is. Now that it's done selecting, if I zoom in here, you can hit Control or hold down Alt and then pinch to zoom on a PC, or if you are on a Mac, you can just use that pinch to zoom feature. What you're seeing here is called dancing lines, moving lines. It's the selected area. So if you see these little black and white lines that are essentially moving around a subject or an area that you selected, that area is selected, and more specifically, that area is selected on this layer. So if we look, we see those lines. I'm just going to zoom in to make sure everything is selected here. If we look, The tab here on the helmet is not selected all the way. So the select subject will work pretty well, but it may have its downfalls here. So what I mean by that, if there's an area in which is not as defined or doesn't have it as a defined edge, it has a hard time selecting that area. So if we look at his arm here, it's not as in focus, so it didn't select this too well. But we can fix that by using the same tool, and I'm just going to slowly click and drag to select that area. Okay, so this is just the quick selection tool, click and drag. This tool works like a brush, so I can use my brackets to make this area bigger or smaller. Right bracket, left bracket. Okay, and I just want to try to select as much as I can initially to select the subject. Go through real quick. Overall, that's pretty solid. Got part of the glove. Can slowly select as well. Yeah, that's pretty good initially. It has a few gaps here, but I can edit that later. So, selection, quick edit tool. I could copy paste this, Command C, Command V, and now Mr. Rudolph is on his own layer. Or if I hit Command Z here a few times, I can also hit Command J, and that will it will duplicate whatever you have selected as well. So same outcome, and that is a quick way just to use a selection tool to select a subject. Key items for this to work is that clean edge, high quality image, and with that, that is how you can rasterize an image and select a subject within that image and apply it to its own layer.